So some months ago, someone came to me with an idea. She was craving more time with women her age and also more time and space in her life for spiritual practice and exploring spiritual practices. And she came to me with this idea of putting together a new group at the shul. Hey, Rabbi, what would it be like if I gathered some women my age and we met regularly, once a month, every 6 weeks, whatever, and we did something together with you or with Cantor, with one another that would be some form of spiritual practice. And I said, great, as I say to everybody who comes up with a great idea, great, let's give it a try. Let's see if it'll work. And you're in charge, right? That's the other part of it. You have an idea, and I don't say yes to not every idea is really going to have wings, but many ideas are really, really great, and all it takes is some person to say, okay, I'm going to do it. And that's the main thing that makes or breaks any new program, right? Or any idea is, are there other people interested in doing it with you? So, great. So she did just that, right? We came up with the idea. She sent the idea around to various friends. They all said they were interested. A bunch of them said they were interested. We put it out to the whole congregation. A whole bunch of people signed up. She had fed the first, minion part of it, so she knew she had takers. We filled it out, and it's amazing. It's great, and we gave it a name, the Soulful Sisters, wonderful, and we sent it out to the whole congregation. We said, if this idea appeals to you, but you don't happen to be a woman in your 40s, that's okay. Tell us. You could help us build the next one for your age group and for your cohort of people and for your gender. Like we can do as many of these as you want. Come let us know. And if there's a waiting list, because we want to keep it small so that we can fit in people's homes, then that's okay. We're going to start a waiting list and tell us, and we'll start a second group. And this is going to be great for everybody. But wouldn't you know? A few weeks after the group gets off, after the word gets out that they've met once or twice and it's fun, it's connective, I start hearing, Rabbi, there's a secret group at the shul. Rabbi, there's this new women's thing and I wasn't invited, and there's people doing things without me, and then because people are kind to me or maybe a little, respectful or whatever, they start calling maybe a president or maybe the sisterhood chairs, there's something that's happening that I'm not part of, right? And I share this story not because we have some huge congregational crisis brewing, not at all. If we did, I would not be sharing the story in this moment. I share it because we just read Parshat Treu, where we have the commandments right after crossing the sea on dry land, and they're free, and they gather to hear God's words, and we get the Aseret Hadibrot chanted so beautifully. Thank you, Kim Yashirkach. And the first one was, I am the Lord your God, and I'm not sure how that's a commandment, but we can explore that another time. But by the time we climb through the other ones, right, remember Shabbat, and honor your parents, and do not murder, we get to number 10, which is, you shall not covet. So I get the action items of the Aseret Hadibrot, of the 10, right? You shall not murder. I know how to do that. You should keep the Shabbat holy. The rabbis helped us figure out what that might look like, right? But covet? I mean, that's not something that you do, right? That's something that you feel. That's something that goes on inside of you. And so how does that get to be one of the big 10, right? And if we look at the command in full, we have to pay close attention to it, right? Because it's actually, you shall not covet, what? You shall not covet beit re'echa, your neighbor's house. Or re'echa is a friend. It's someone you're in relationship with, right? You shall not cover their house or their spouse or all that they have, their servants, the animals, or anything that is your neighbor's. There's actually a break in the middle of the line in the Torah, right? It starts with, you shall not cover your neighbor's house, and then there's a space, even though the verse hasn't ended, and then the verse keeps going, right? Or your neighbor's wife or anything else the neighbor has, right? And the space to me is like Mad Libs, right? It's that space in a Mad Libs page that underneath it is written fill in here the thing that makes you jealous, right? The things that fills you with covetous desires, right? Or maybe it's, to be really clear, the instructions would be right in here, the thing that someone close by you has that you don't, right? Because that's actually it, right? What fills us with that feeling of coveting is not the Sultan of Brunei owns a fleet, apparently, of 5,000 cars worth $5 billion, right? Like, we don't covet that, but we might covet the new car that our friend or our neighbor drove home yesterday, right? Or apparently the Australian businessman Clive Palmer spent $500 million to build an exact replica of the Titanic with enough lifeboats for everybody, right? Like, we don't covet that, but we do covet maybe the boat or the trip on the cruise that our neighbor or our friend went on. It's the people who are in our lives, right? It's the new women's group at my synagogue that my friends or a friend of a friend are going to that is meeting without me, right? That's what does it to us, right? It's the kid in my kid's third grade class who had the birthday party and the day before, and now my kid's birthday party, right? Or the scholarship that the friend got for their kid to go to the college. It's the people in our lives that fill us. It's our neighbors that fill us with this desire. It's the things that are within our reach. So lo tachmod is the Hebrew. You shall not covet. So anyone know where that verb tachmod, where that root first occurs in Torah? Yes, A+, gold star for Sue Shapiro. We first get it in that Garden of Eden story of the forbidden fruits. The fruits of the garden are described as nechmad, as desirable, right? Pleasant, right? And when we get this command, do not covet, when we get it the second time in the Deuteronomy recap, there's another verb introduced, which is lo titaveh, you shall not desire. And that verb is also right there in the Garden of Eden story, right? In the scene with Eve, the Chava, and the snake, right? That she desires the fruit, and it's that same verb. So there's something about that. It's like right there from the very beginning of humanity, of the human story, is that feeling of wanting, of desiring, of coveting something. Ibn Ezra, the medieval commentator, writes that no one covets the beautiful princess or sleeping with their mother. Yes, he actually wrote that. Because both are so obviously not for us. It is clear, he writes, that God's plan for us does not include either one of those things, and so it doesn't enter our hearts to covet that. And then he goes on to teach the beautiful concept from the Talmud that some things in life just depend on mazel, on luck, which for which connects into our faith, right? That our mazel, our luck, is somehow deeply connected to a God who cares about us, and that all that we are given is enough, right? And so if we can hold on to our emunah, our bitachon, our sense of trust, and our sense of like some things are not in our control, and let go of it. It's just the hand we're dealt. Something is just the hand we're dealt. It's just the way it is. He suggests, Ibn Ezra suggests, that that's the way that we're going to fulfill this mitzvah. And for everything else, perhaps the little nudge of coveting is a wake-up call, right? Like, notice in yourself the thing that's triggering you, and then start doing that work about what you need to work on in your own showing up with bitachon, with trust, and with acceptance of the hand you're dealt, of all that you do have, right? Because we all already have everything we need. God has already given us more than enough. So yes, we can go ahead and make the list of all the things that we don't have, all the things that the other people in our lives have that we don't, but that's not it. Coveting emerges from a disdain of what one's own life looks like and an inability to wish the best for those around us. And so the key way to fight covetousness is to have contentment, to be sameach bechelko, right? This is Pirkei Avot, to be content with what we have, with what we are allotted. Ezehu ashir, who is really rich? Not the one who has the $500 million Titanic replica. Ezehu ashir misha sameach bechelko, the one who is happy, content with what we are apportioned. So to say this differently, it is about bitachon. It is about gratitude for what we have, knowing that we have more than enough, and bitachon, trust. That is the point of the story where we are in with Parshat Yitro. We are at the point in the story where we turn from wishing things were different, right? Let my people go. This is really bad. I need a really big change in my life. We've done that. And now the story turns. We're gathered in this moment of revelation at the foot of a mountain to be given a list of ways to live our lives so that we can be content with what we have, to continue to see that our lives are already full of blessings. So Yitro, this parsha, is this turning point. So if anyone wants to start the next Soulful Sisters group, or the Bonding Brothers group, or any other kind of thing here, and you want to get your first dozen friends to sign up, and then we can open it up to everybody, please, let's do it. The more the merrier. It would make me so happy. But also, let's not sit with coveting for this or for any other matter of life, because what we have is already good. We've already been given so much as a source of blessings, and we just need to remember to tap more into that. May that be our blessing that we take from this Shabbat and our Torah reading, to go out into this week with gratitude and contentment, desiring only what is good for one another, and being happy and content with what is ours. Amen.